श्रीमते जैमिन्याचार्याय नमः। श्रीतलवकारगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Welcome YouTube viewers. Today 9th June 2018, Saturday, Dasami and Revati. Today we will be completing Dharmapadam Sutra wise lessons, and in the previous video we have come across the Katapaya system, which has to be applied for Rasis, Bhavas, Karakas in one category and Grahas in another category. That means we have two different methods in order to use Katapaya for planets and Rashis. They are two different by the two sutras, Sarvatra Sabarana Bhava Rasescha and Nagrahaha. So, in order to continue our two sutras which come after these two sutras, we have to just refresh, because that is the tradition. So people will be definitely having some doubts regarding Nagrahaha, because it's because we never come across about using the Katapaya in a not Ankanam Vamatogatihi fashion, but taking as it is without reversing, because that is what we stated in our previous video. And the authoritative sutra is Grahanam Dakshinagatihi, which is in the only Parampara Antargata. That means within our tradition but not published anywhere. So this doubt can be easily removed by taking Nagraha word again, that sutra again. So Graha is Katapaya way 2 and 8. So generally Ankana Vamatogate we will be reversing it, and if we reverse that it comes to 82. And if we don't reverse it, it will be 28. So, as we stated, for Grahas we should not reverse. This sutra, it will telling you such decision. How? Because if we take 28, that is without reversing, which will be a integral multiple of 7. I was telling that Rashi is the number which is used for mathematical operations. So it can be either division, multiplication, subtraction, anything can be done. But it also means that it is an integral multiple or a heap of numbers. Therefore, if we take Graha is 28, which is a number, and it's an integral multiple of 4 to 7. So in this context, because it is 7, Grahas are only 7 in number, because those are the one which own the lordship over signs. That means only 7 planets have the, that is, they are admitted or allowed to rule the 12 signs. So there we have other books where Rahu and Ketu also own certain signs. That is, we don't want to go into their details, but if we look into the light of Nagraha, it is very clearly stating that Na is not. Not means to the previous one it is Sarvatra Savarana Bhava Rasescha. So we have to take Ankana Vamatogatihi rule, then we have to take the number to be reversed. That process is Na, that means not to be taken. If we don't do that way, then what will be the another option, whether we have to take or not? It says that Na Grahaha, for Grahas we should not take that way, but we should be taken like this way, which is nothing but 28. So in not reversing, we have got 28. By reversing, you got 82. So 82 is not a integral multiple of either 7 or 9. If we take Rahu Ketu into consideration, it should be 81. Therefore, it's not an integral multiple of either 9 or 7. Therefore, what is the leftover is the rule which, because of this sutra, we have to know only through the Parampara Antargata Grahanam Dakshinagatihi, because that when we don't know, we cannot even think about Jaimini astrology. So this is what the greatness of Parampara. Students or people who have learned through books, that will not be a complete one. So by just books reading, we may have some interest or something like whatever we want to know, but it is not a complete process. It should be through only Guru. Therefore, without Guru, without Acharya, these subjects are not to be understood. And if we do such things, I say it is not to the true spirit of learning of Vedic sciences. Therefore, Parampara has to be taken into consideration, and whoever thinks that we can manage with books because they are all available, therefore we can use it directly and we can directly apply it and we can directly get many name and fame by prediction and all sorts of things, which is nothing but we are going to the cycle of karmic and carbon. Please, in order to get these things, I would like to suggest that we have to have compulsory for Vedic sciences a proper preceptor, just like we have in other sciences, physics, maths, geology, all, we will be definitely having a guru initially. So these things we have to take into consideration. And Nagraha, it clearly says that 28 is an integral multiple of 7. Therefore, we have to only take not reversing for planets. Now, after this sutra, before going to next two sutras, I would like to again re-stress, because there are many points which I have stated in my book, but for this Dharmapadam, we have to observe certain minimum basic rules and principles as per my Guru's Adesha. We have to understand that Maharshi didn't use any words which are not relevant. For example, I was stressing about the word Lagna. In all other books, all other schools, definitely we will come across the word Lagna. But in Jaimini astrology, we don't come across the word Lagna. Because there are many reasons, at least in the context of Sarvatra Savarna, if we change any letter, definitely the numerical value will be changing. Once the numerical value changes, entire result will be changing. Therefore, this type of giving stress on both bhava, that is padam, that is words and letters, and also to katapaya is the very salient feature of Jaimini astrology. So, I would like to say that padam is being used and no lagna being used. Either this way, we can say that Lagna is not used and the Pitru is being used, or Shukra, Manda, Ketu. We have certain names for that. Manda also. But Padam is never replaced by Arudham. So those who are reading any books, they claim that Arudham, which is against the principles of Jaimini. Because that is the Mano Gatam of Maharshi. We have to understand what he is intended to, or what he learnt and he wants to pass through to us. So therefore, when we see entire astrology, Jaimini Sutras, we don't come across the word called Arudham, because when we take Katapaya for Arudham, it is 420, it would be Meenam. Whereas Padam, if we take, it is Dhanus. So both are related to Sagittarius and Pisces related to Jupiter. However, Padam is the important word in many contexts, but not Arudham. Therefore, Arudham means what? To ascend or sit on a place or throne. Whereas Padam is the total extension of your distance where we are taking for the planet, wherever it is removed from its sign, further distance when we take it, it is the reflection or the that is momentum, as I was saying, because any planet will have mass and it is moving, because it's moving its velocity. Therefore, in a circular path, when we take the same extension, is nothing but the padam in general rule of yavadi shastram padam rukshanam. Therefore, the extension of padam is nothing but the reflection of its momentum. Momentum is nothing but the karma. That is, as per physics, we have action, least action principles. We will come later in those regarding. Therefore, padam is the only word used and no arudham, just like lagna is not used. Therefore, these things are related to, because it is related to Sarvatra, Maharshi is very careful, and it is also descended like that to him. Now, coming to next things which we have with the two sutras, which are the next 35 and 36th sutras, which are like Yavad Vivekam Avrittir Bhanam. So this sutra tells about, at least because in other books, which is a really very rudimentary explanation, that it tells about the dasha and antardashas, that is main periods and sub periods. But that's a very rudimentary explanation, and in our parampara we have many explanations for this. So at least this Yavad Vivekam Avrittir Bhanam, if we see in many books, at least in the Kashi printing, Chaukamba and all, which are taken to be authoritative publications, they have taken this Yavad Vivekam after Natha Anta Samaha Prayena. So after the years of the science, they have taken as, because it is connected to dasas and antardashas, they have published it as Yavad Vivekam Avrittir Bhanam Sutram after Natha Anta Samaha Prayena. But this is also not correct. So when we change the sutra kramam, that is order of the sutras, it will be affecting. If we change the words by taking either lagnam or arudam for the respective cases, it also changes. And without knowing Guru Parampara, it also changes a lot. Therefore, these are not to be taken, and we want to stress the importance of this kramam, the words, and also parampara. So after this nagraha, Maharshi is telling you Yavad Vivekam Avrittir Bhanam, which is after 34th sutra. That is 35th. But in other books also it is taken as 34 only, because they don't contain Kvachis Sadgrahanam Sutram, which is not at all there in any books, but it is only preserved in our parampara. Therefore, what is this Yavad Vivekam? So Vivekam means whatever the knowledge, whatever the basic fundamentals or wisdom as taught previously till now, that at the same time Vivekam means the one which is going in the future also. That means entire Jaimini astrology, at least in astrological context. But Jaimini astrology doesn't only tell about astrological context, it tells many things about creation, destruction and all things. That whole thing is called Vivekam. Therefore, Yavad Vivekam Tavat, that is the Bahurehi Samahasam. Therefore, it's a compound sutram, compound sentence. So, Yavat, just like in Yavad Ishasrayam, Tavat Padam Rukshanam. That should be understood that way. In that way, here also, Yavat Vivekam, Tavat Avrittir Bhanam. So, whatever we studied till now, whatever we know, the wisdom, that is Yavat Vivekam, that should be further Tavat, should be understood as the Avrittir Bhanam. Bha is Rasis, or the one which shine. So, just like the signs which come again and again in a cyclic manner. They, just like they rotate or in a, cyclic fashion, just like that, all this what we learn will again repeat and repeat at many stages. This means we have to apply many dashas, many things which will come across later in our padas. For that, the guidelines from this sutra is whatever we learned, that is all the basic fundamentals till now we studied. That is Argala, Drushti, Karakas, all what we have studied all till 34th sutra. These are the basic pillars of Jaimini astrology, and they are treated as Vivekam. And by again contemplating or going on further and applying them in many levels, it goes on, it be going on generating a continuous process. Therefore, this never-ending thing, just like Rashis all come and go in a circular fashion. Therefore, here one thing is very important. Many cultures and civilizations of ancient, they have taken time as circular. That is cyclic cycles. That is cyclic times. They never took a linear. That means linear means time will going on from past, present and future. So never it come back. But whereas in many ancient civilizations, they have taken time as a cyclic property. That means all the cycles again repeat, just like seasons repeats, precision of equinoxes repeats, yugas repeats. All this repetition is called a cycle. So many things we have in astronomy which are in the fashion of circular motions. So what we see in all planets and rashis, all are circular, they are not linear. Therefore, what we observe from the frame of reference or point of view from us, that is on earth, we see all them as a cyclic fashion. Just like they have cyclic fashion, what we learn from them or wisdom is also cyclic. So it continues even after destruction. It will come again. It's the same set of rules. They also come again in the form of in a different name, but they again repeat. So that means these are all stating the yuga cycles. This sutra tells about yuga cycles. In order to know that, Vivekam, when we take Katapayam, that will get 144 by Ankana Vamatogati. Therefore, this 144, as others stated, it is an integral multiple of 12. Now they have accepted the integral multiplicity of 12. So, what is this integral multiple of 12? It is nothing but the Dasha and Antardashas. That is periods, each Rashi. If say for example each Rashi has 12 years. If you say for example Aries sign whose Lord is there itself, then as per Swasthya Daraha, we have to take 12 years. Therefore, the total period of that Mahadasha, that is Rashi, that is sign, that is Aries, is 12 years. Therefore, the sub-periods also are in the form of cyclic notion. That means it comes after Aries, the sub-period will be Taurus, another that after Taurus will be Gemini. In that way, all the 12 sub-periods will come or occur in the main dasa of Aries. Therefore, if we do that way, then what will be the period of sub-periods? Therefore, this rule tells about each sign will get that 1/12th part of main dasha years. Therefore, since the main dasha period is 12 years, 1/12th will be 1 year. Therefore, each sign will get 1 year as sub-periods. Therefore, if you take 1 year, 1 year, 1 year distributed to all 12 signs, then the main dasha of Aries will have each sub-dashas with each 1 year. This is the aspect of Vivekam, which being that is what being stated by other books. But at the same time, we have to understand that this Vivekam is not only that, it tells about the subdivisions of signs. Because in astrology, very important difference between planet and sign is planets cannot be divided. That means we cannot imagine a whole celestial body into pieces. Whereas the sign which spreads over a distance, angular distance of 30 degrees, can be imagined to contain small windows or small widths. This division of space is possible in science, but it is not possible in grahas. So nagraha means that also it implies planets cannot be divided into parts. Therefore, if I say Kuja Mahadasha, therefore if we say that Kuja Mahadasha, Kuja Antara, that is main period of Kuja Mahadasha, Kuja Antardasha, Kuja Vidasha, like that if you go 5 levels, Kuja, 5 levels. So it means mathematically we can distribute or divide the 7 years into certain parts, but is that meaningful to take a planet as a parts of 7 pieces? So that is the concept of Nagraha. Therefore, since it is not logical in one sense, Maharshi adopts Rashi Dasas, because Rashi is a space and space can be divided but not planet. Therefore, here Vivekam is to be understood the importance of the Rashi over planet. Therefore, the reason for not adopting Grahadasas is mainly due to this Vivekam, and this Vivekam implies that planets cannot be subdivided into pieces, whereas Rashi or space can be divisible. This is a concept of our basic ideology of Jaimini astrology. So after that, Yavat Vivekam, it means once we accept that sign can be divisible, till what extent it is divisible. So when we do that way, generally one sign when it is divided, it can be divisible as per Vivekam 12, because 12 12s are 144. So it is an integral multiple of 12. Since it is that, we can think about it. But though it is generally we can think about that way, we have, if we think that way, we have 12 division signs. That is, dividing one sign by 1 will be Rashi, dividing 2 will be Hora, dividing by 3 will have Trikana, dividing 4 will have Chaturdhamsa, and 5 Panchamamsa. In that way till 12 Dwadashamsa. This is what mathematically is possible. So though many divisions we can minutely can be divisible by mathematically, theoretically, but certain only things are permissible for our understanding of astrology and its level or its effects on human beings. Just like many planets are there in sky, in cosmos, wherever they are, many stars, planets, we can take n number of planets also. But it's not taken that way, only we limited to Saturn. Just like that for our human level, which is the, we have to understand the optimum level by which after that the effects are negligible. Therefore the gravitational pull after that is more or less 0. Just like that concept of certain limit for any effective analysis, the limit has been put till Saturn as per the planets are concerned. Just like that in Rashi division also, though we can divide any way, any number, infinite numbers, but it is not to be taken that way, because the next sutra, Horadaya Siddhaha, is going to tell about the permission, that is the limit of taking any division of signs. So before going to Horadaya Siddhaha, we have to understand Yavat Vivekam Avritir Bhanam, that it tells about the years also, the maximum years. So when we do that way, we have at least 3 cases. So these 3 cases, because Bhana, which is a Bahuvachanam, that is plural, we should at least have 3 levels. What are the 3 levels? So when we try to take the years of the periods or of the dashas or signs in the light of Natha Anta Samaprayana, then Swastya Daraha and Sutastha Janma, will have 3 permutations or at least 3 cases. One is taking Saturn in its own sign, that is in Capricorn or Aquarius, and luminaries Sun and Moon in Cancer and Leo respectively. Sorry, Moon and Sun and Cancer and Leo respectively. Therefore, when we do that way, the total number of years for all these 4 signs will be 12 each. That is 12 into 4, that is 48. In this way, Saturn's owned signs, which are Aquarius and Capricorn, get maximum years. Either rod is staying there or 12 to it. Therefore, it means that even 12 or 2 or 1, that is for Saturn, staying in Kumbha means he is the second house from Capricorn. If he is in Kumbha, he is in first house in Kumbha itself. And if he is in Capricorn, then he is 12th from Aquarius, and he is there itself in Capricorn. Therefore, in this way, we'll have, if we took both Capricorn and Aquarius, we have 3, 1, 2 and 12. That are the 3 places possible for Saturn. Even then, we get 12 years. That is a Swasthya Daraha means. Therefore, the maximum number of years are 12 years, and they are obtainable only for Saturn's owned signs. Therefore, it means that Mandojja and Gruheshu means the strongest is Saturn among these signs. It means that in the context of Manda Dasha, the number of years are maximum for Saturn, and in that context we see 12 for Aquarius and Capricorn, and Cancer 12 years and Leo 12 years. It is totally 48 years. When coming to Jupiter and Mercury signs, dual signs, we have to imagine to be maximum as Saturn, the Jupiter and Mercury placed in 7th from their signs. That means if Jupiter is placed in Mercury signs and Mercury is placed in Jupiter signs, then we'll get Swasthya Dara. After that, we have Sutastha Janma. That means in 7 there will be 10 years. Therefore, in that context, Jupiter's and Mercury's owned signs will get 10, 10, 10, 10. That is 4 tens. We'll get 40 years. Therefore, we have luminaries and Saturn in one category called 48 years, Jupiter and Mercury category as 40 years, and remaining Mars and Venus, if they are to be imagined to be at the Venus in Buddha signs and Mars in Jupiter signs. So Venus in Mercury signs and Mars in Jupiter signs will give the maximum number of years as 21 of Mars related signs, and also Venus related signs at 21 years. Totally it comes to 42 years. Therefore, when we try to tally entire this maximum years, we get 48 for luminaries and Saturn, that is 48 years one category. Mercury and Jupiter category as 40 years, and Mars and Venus category as 42 years. Therefore, when we add together 48, 42 and 40, it becomes to 130 years. So this is the Sutra Vivekam. It tells about more than 120 years. That is Vimshottari is 120 years. Therefore, that 120 year system is taken into consideration in one sense in Atma Adikaha Kaladipirna Bhoga Saptanam Ashtanam Bhav. There in that we have when the all planets are just following as per the Tasya Karaka type in their own places. The 7 signs all when they are following sequentially, then we'll get 120 years as per Atmadikaha. How? Moon in Cancer, Sun in Leo, Mercury in Virgo, Venus in Libra, and Mars in Scorpio, and Jupiter in Sagittarius, and Saturn in Capricorn. In this way, we have all the 7 planets from Moon to Saturn. And if you imagine that Moon is the fastest and as Atmakaraka, then the one who next follows is like imagine Ravi, Sun in Leo, and Tasya Bhratru is Mercury in Virgo, Tasya Mata is as Venus in Libra, and Tasya Putra as Mars in Scorpio, and Tasya Gnati as Jupiter in Sagittarius, and Tasya Darascha as Saturn in Capricorn. Then we'll get all these Tasya Karakas also. At the same time, 7 planets in Grahamalika. then we'll get all the 12, the 7 signs as 12 into 7, that is 84 years. The remaining 5 signs will get, if we calculate, will get total together 120 years. Therefore, this Atmakaraka Sutra is not only telling about Vimshottara and Buddhadasas, as I was telling you, as 120, Nabhogaha, it also tells about the Tasya system when we follow in that fashion, imagining that all the 7 planets are in their own signs, then it will come to be 120 years. So 120, just like Vimshottari, it is also there in Jaimini. At the same time, more than 120 is not there in Parashara, but in Jaimini we have, as now I stated, 48, 42 and 40. And we have another thing is, because this what I told you 130 years is not possible on Rashi base level, because in Rashi level they are not possible, because Jupiter and Mercury, they cannot be far from Sun. Mercury cannot be far from Sun, and Venus cannot be far from Sun due to their internal planets system. Therefore, this is only possible in other Vargas, not in the Rashi Varga. That is what the Vivekam comes into picture. Therefore, in other Vargas, when we try to see, then all the planets have the liberty to move anywhere. They have they don't have any constraints, and this constraint is only possible in Rashi level. Therefore, in Rashi level, we have Argalas, which are constraints. Therefore, Argala is applicable to Rashi level, but not in other Vargas. At the same time, this constraint will give you only numbers limited to entire maximum numbers as limited. But when we take Vargas into consideration, it is very possible that we can have anywhere, any place for any planet. If that is the case, 130 is the maximum in other Vargas. Whereas in Rashi chart, we'll see that, as I told you, 120 years also possible. And if you try to see what is the minimum also, that is an exercise for you, please take it as exercise. Therefore, these two, that is 130, 120 are stated in this Vivekam. At the same time, we have 144 as a maximum. How it is possible 144? So that is where Swastya Daraha comes. Swastya means when the planet is along with Atmakaraka, then the years for the sign are 12 years. That is this. Imagine all these 7 planets are there in one sign. That means all planets are with Atmakaraka, which is nothing but the Gola Yoga, and which is the basis for Atmadika Kaladipirnamag Saptanam Ashthanam Va. In this case, then all these signs, because their lords are situated with or associated with Atmakaraka, definitely their periods will be 12 signs each, 12 years each. Therefore, 12 years will be 12 12s, it becomes 144. That is a Vivekam. Therefore, this is Vivekam is something not a normal case. It is an extraordinary. It occurs only during some catastrophes or epochs, which is called Yugas. So we have in Kali Yuga 4,32,000 years. We have 3,000 Vivekas. So that is very much important in this context of Yavad Vivekam Avartirpanam, which I will come later in my book in detail. Therefore, Yavad Vivekam Avartirpanam has many meanings, not only just periods and sub-periods. It has many things to do with many dashas and timing of periods. Therefore, once this is taken that way, then we have to know what are the levels of division of a sign. So many people have a lot of confusion about Navamshas, that is many versions, Somnath Navamsha, Malratnamala, and many other. No, there are no such controversy or ambiguity, because Horadaya Siddhaha is going to tell you about the exact number of Vargas and how they have to be taken. So we have to take the Vargas as per the Yavad Vivekam, they are continuous. Therefore, we cannot imagine, as in Parashara we have Drekana 159, but here in Jaimini we don't have such a 159 jumping. It only continues, it occurs in continuous, just like Yavad Vivekam Avartirbhanam. So it means that all these signs occur in a circular fashion, continuous successively, because they don't jump, and we see that they don't jump that way. Therefore, this is the idea of Yavad Vivekam. when we take that way, Hora Adaya Siddhaha tells you about we have to take only 6 Vargas. So that Katapaya is an exercise for you all, which is the last sutra. Therefore, Hora Adayaha, Hora is the both a sign, that is Lagna, that is whatever we want to see, and also it means half of the zodiac, half of a sign, many things. They all are being coded in that sutra itself. So it is an exercise for all of you. Please take it as that spirit. Hora Adayaha, Hora plus Adayaha Siddhaha, that is available. Whatever that already being stated by many things, many saints and scholars already available. It is one level of understanding, but it is not that way. In nature, they are all available, irrespective of anyone's school telling or not, admitting or not, the fact remains so. Therefore, the truth is there, and Hora Adaya Siddhaha means it has to be taken only 6 Vargas, and those 6 Vargas are clearly stated by Maharshi in his next Padam. Therefore, this we have to know what are the divisions and what are the rules to be applied, and when we do that, we'll get many answers to our prediction part. Therefore, I would like to today remind them all that Guru Parampara is very important, and I request all of you to recite that Jaimini Gayatri, and without Gayatri you cannot even imagine. And certain students may think that because information available everywhere on internet, so that we can easily get all these things, and we don't require anyone to guide us, and we can definitely have our own mastery over them, and we can invent so many other things as we think. So certain people, certain students or some viewers are expressing that we think this way, we feel this way. So that may be the thing, but it is not that. You should not think about your own. You are not at a Maharshi level. Maharshi is very high, and he is an evolved soul. We are not even anywhere when compared to his IQ. Therefore, we should be very careful. We have to only follow strictly what he said, and many layers of understandings are there. That many layers are only revealed through Parampara, and this is called Jnana Bhiksha. So this Jnana Bhiksha is only through Guru, is possible, not by books. So this book writing of Jaimini Sutras is also possible. I will be coming in next video about Jaimini Maharshi and its time, where it is being clearly stated at what time this sutra is being revealed, and what time and what place this sutra is written down. Therefore, I would like to complete this today video about Yavat Vivekam Bhanam and Hora Adaya Siddhaha. These 2 sutras completes our Dharma Padam, and this is why Dharma Padam, this Padam is called because next coming 3 Padas are related to Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Therefore, their names are appropriately given by our Parampara, but no one is given that way. Please understand, these things are very important when we know, because each letter has its own very powerful when compared to, or it's like a Bija Akshara or Bija Mantra, or even if you try to see in a mathematical context, it is Sarvatra Savarna Bhava Rasyascha, that way it is Katapaya way, it has its own mathematical value. So please understand these things. I'll take leave today. Jairadhe.